Welcome back to the Double Dribble Podcast off-season preview with Jacob and Ray.
Yes, episode 4. No, 3. 3, I believe, of the Detroit Pistons, the 14th seed in the Eastern Conference. Not gonna lie, it's a bit underwhelming. I would have thought Detroit would have been a little bit better, but here we are. They're bad.
Yeah, it's mostly like the other two we've already done. But Detroit are a bit different in the way that their salary cap situation is very flexible. So for this season,
They got a lot of money.
they have 14 players, but about 50 million cap, which is, of course, a lot of money. But they also have some players like Hamidou Diallo, Frank Jackson, Carson Edwards, and Luka Garza. They all have team options.
Mm-hmm.
And also Marvin Bagley.
Oh.
They have, who is a restricted free agent, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there. But yeah, then the season after...
Oh my god, it just dawned upon me that the Kings could have had Luka. Oh. You kind of have to feel bad for them. Anyway, this is about Detroit, not the Kings.
Yeah, so...
Kings, they're just idiots. Go.
So the year after next, they only have 7 players and what would be like $80 million in cap, but they'll have to sign some players, of course. So yeah, they have Kelly Olynyk's contract, Jeremy Grant's $21 million, Cade's $10 million, and then basically 5 and under.
Yeah, but they're happy for Cade to earn as much as he wants.
Yeah, so
Pool all their money at Cade.
They're pretty cap free.
And how long until Killian Hayes gets himself moving? Because right now,
yeah,
are they happy to run Cade at point guard?
I think
are they happy to run Cade at shooting guard?
I think he mainly, I don't know, positionless
Killian
basketball.
Hayes is very short.
Is he like 6'1"?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Cade's like 6'5".
Yeah, 6'5", 6'6".
So, there's a lot of room for Detroit.
And they also, like we've said in other recaps, like the Rockets recap, where they haven't really yet sort of made up their mind of what their way of
what's their
building
avenue is of building to become a good team again. Most people are through the draft, and that's what they're looking like. But I think that Detroit, they have the assets.
Yeah.
They're unlike the Rockets. They have the assets to go out and get a, maybe not a star, but like a Brink All-Star, maybe. Who was a Brink All-Star? They have the assets to get maybe a DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, but again, that's a whole different thing if they're going to accept that deal. But
absolutely. But we'll talk about that in the trade segment of this episode. But unlike Houston and Orlando, they have the ability to maybe trade their way out of it.
And also, they don't necessarily have to trade. They can also, after the next year or two, they basically have, or after the next 2 seasons, the only player that has a team option or is under contract is Cade Cunningham.
But they're not.
That's it.
They're not too mad at that.
So they're going to have lots of money, space in their roster to move.
Space in their salary cap.
Yeah, they have enough assets to move or to try trade for a Brink All-Star. And they have high draft picks.
Absolutely.
So they have what you need to start a good rebuild.
Yep.
But just if they will use them.
Yeah.
Or,
as you said, free agency is another place that they should definitely look into. So what is there? 3 avenues? You can trade your way out, you can sign your way out, or you can draft your way out.
I reckon, you kind of have to use a bit, or you kind of have to use basically all of them.
Yeah.
But drafting usually is the main way, especially when you're at a point like the Pistons are, because like the Heat have been good and maintained their success
Absolutely.
by signing undrafted players, unsigned players,
doing unorthodox things that no one else thought to do.
and like the Warriors, how they've been good and they've maintained their success by trading D'Angelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins and a pick that became Kuminga.
Or like, making Kevon Looney what they want. Like you saw Kevon Looney had like 22 boards in the closeout game against Memphis.
And had 20 points in
like
a recent game.
You can just in the game 2 win against Dallas. Like they've forged all these good teams have forged these players into what they want. God, it's really windy.
But they mostly start. Basically, when you've got to this point where you're at the rebuild, it's basically just through the draft.
Absolutely.
All the good teams start at the draft. It's maintaining your success mostly where the undrafted signing and trades come in. Because, let's be real, no big name free agent's going to sign to Detroit or Orlando or Houston or Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
Because they're like, why would I waste, especially like if they're around like 32?
Yeah.
Like, why would I waste a couple years of my...
Like Kyrie.
Of the end of my career to play on a losing team.
Like, it's just... like
they're not going to do it.
Very rare.
But, I mean, unless somebody goes to, like, looks at, like, an Oklahoma...
Yeah, like...
And they're like, oh, well, I might have a year of losing, but after that, we will be a contender.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Detroit want to get to, where in a couple years they say to free agents where look at how promising our future is. Like you might have 1 year of losing, but then after that we're going to be contending.
Instead of looking at now, look in 2 years times. Like Detroit's another team where they're only going to get better.
Yeah.
And I think they have to recognise that they need to recognise that. But for now, they're still the 14th seed.
Yeah.
So for now, they also have to recognise that they're not getting anything. Like free agency, you're not going to get any big splash at all.
But I reckon that's where they need to be smart with who they sign and what sort of roles they sign. I reckon now this is when you get younger players that you kind of see sort of like a Mikal Bridges sort of player, but not as good.
Mikal Bridges.
Yeah. So then you can say, oh, here's our younger defensive stopper, and you start gathering pieces. So then you go, in a few years, our team makeup is whatever it is. And
the structure. Yeah,
the structure. And then as they grow together, there'll be more of a bond, which also helps them probably stay together. Because that'll help the chemistry a lot by having a team that's built together, stay together, and then...
So Detroit, salary cap room, a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Trade room, a lot. They have a lot of assets. Hamidou Diallo. Do they see Isaiah Stewart as their starting centre in a couple of years?
It'll be interesting, like, I reckon Killian Hayes is an interesting one.
Saddiq Bey.
Killian Hayes is averaging 7 and 5 a game, and per 36 is 10 and 7. So it's not that he's been getting not a lot of opportunities. He just hasn't really stood up.
Yeah.
But are you looking at a backcourt or a team of Killian Hayes, Cade, Saddiq, Jeremy Grant, and Isaiah Stewart?
I think it's young. I think I can go somewhere, but I think that the name that jumps out to me is Killian Hayes. I think that it would be a massive move for them to trade him.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would be shocked.
Yeah, agreed.
If they do that.
He's somebody that by now they'd be able to tell, is he going to be somebody that can improve to be a star like you want or what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Or you might say, well, we don't think he's going to be that. Let's use his potential in the trade market so then we get something valuable while we can.
Absolutely.
I reckon one of the most interesting free agency decisions is if they decide to bring back Marvin Bagley. I think they will in restricted free agency so they can match the offers.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the most they're gonna pay somebody like Marvin Bagley?
What's the contract he's on right now? What's he getting right now? Because I don't think that they, unless it's like a rookie deal.
Yeah, it's a rookie deal.
Yeah, like, so if it's a rookie deal, then I don't think they're willing to pay him too much more.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. How actually influential is Marvin Bagley right now?
Not that.
Like, he's coming off the bench at 23 years of age. Like, I think that, I think this would be a trade package. If they do bring Marvin Bagley back, Killian Hayes, Marvin Bagley, and a first.
Like, in the future.
Like, what's that going to get you?
I reckon that could get you something pretty decent.
I'm not going to call Killian Hayes a bust yet. I'm willing to call Marvin Bagley a bust.
Yeah, especially when you take it above.
I'm not gonna call Killian Hayes a bust yet, but I'm gonna say a bust and a possible bust and a first.
But you also look at it in the way of too young, like young, like 21
and 23
and 23-year-old, and a pick that could be very high in the lottery.
Yep.
For somebody, like, you could go, I reckon you could trade that. Well, it's kind of hard because...
you could look to two teams that had, one team that's been dominant and this year has dropped off and was out in the first round in Utah.
Yeah.
Or you could look to the team that is dominant and literally... and
sort of like what the Warriors have done, where they've been dominant, but then they've traded for younger players to sort of make that future.
And then they did a short rebuild, and now they're back to being in the conference finals. And so Phoenix is the other one that I was going to mention. Phoenix and Utah.
Yeah.
So Utah, who would they be looking at? Because I think both those teams will be looking to make changes.
Yeah, I reckon Utah, they're probably going to blow it up, but you're not giving Rudy or Donovan for that.
No. But, I think there might be more than just Rudy and Donovan, because you're not the one seed without having something.
But, what are the Detroit Pistons going to get back from the Jazz? The Jazz are mostly quite a bit older team, and that's just not the direction they're going.
Fair. And Phoenix?
Maybe they could say, we'll give you these two for somebody like Mike Conley in, a cap dump. And a pick, or two picks, because if
Utah I'm going to have very valuable picks.
But if I'm thinking about it as Detroit, I'm thinking, well, they're looking to blow it up. They could go into rebuild mode. Those picks in the future could be valuable.
Definitely.
Also, even if they're the 25th pick, those picks do have value. You see people like Jokic get taken in the second round.
Absolutely. So,
I reckon it could be either a cap dump situation, or it could be trading for, probably a tier down from the brink All-Star.
Yeah.
Probably a year or two away from All-Star level.
So, who would fall into that category? I guess you'd even say someone... you could say... Anthony Edwards, except he's not. They're not going to give up.
Maybe somebody like Jordan Poole.
Absolutely, but Golden State's not going to give up Jordan Poole. Moving on. The other team that I was talking about was Phoenix, and I get the feeling they're going to get rid of one person from 4 of their starting 5.
Yeah.
Bridges. I'm not going to say Booker because they're not going to get rid of Booker.
No, they're not getting rid of Booker.
Bridges, Paul, Jay Crowder, or DeAndre Ayton.
I reckon DeAndre Ayton could be used. I reckon this is the sort of situation because I feel like DeAndre Ayton I reckon they'll, because they have the restricted free agency, so I think they'll have a sign and trade. So they might use like, I don't know, maybe a bit better package than that for DeAndre Ayton. And then all of a sudden you've got DeAndre Ayton and Cade Cunningham and people in the draft.
And all of a sudden your team is
got a strong future.
So I think Detroit, they're an interesting one. They have a lot of potential. They have a lot of assets. They have multiple avenues to look at. And then the last one
is the draft, which they have the 5th pick, and they'll probably look to take Jaden Ivey, who's a guard.
He's 6'4".
A 6'4" sophomore, so a second year, out of Purdue. He averaged 17, 5 rebounds, 3 assists on 46% from the field and 36% from 3, which is pretty good numbers.
Yeah. And so he's very athletic. He kind of like Ja Morant is the comparisons that he gets.
He can create his own shot, has a quick first step, but he needs to improve his defense to get to that next level.
So it's almost, I look at it as just a Ja Morant
mold sort of player.
And then the other guy that most mock drafts actually expect them to get, because Sacramento will probably take Jaden Ivey.
Shaedon Sharpe.
Shaedon Sharpe, which we don't have too much info on, but he's a shooting guard.
Who's 6'6", who is like an athletic player. He's a pretty good defender, pretty good on both sides. But he didn't attend. He didn't play in his freshman year at Kentucky. So, he's an 18-year-old,
so
close to 19-year-old.
His year layoff could affect his transition. That's the only real concern for Detroit. But he is a two-way player. He can finish around the rim.
He's athletic and has a pretty good jump shot.
Shoot. So he's pretty good all-round game. For Detroit,
I feel like you would more want, actually, Shaedon Sharpe. He's 6'6". They describe him as an athletic wing, so he can probably play 3. So you could have
absolutely.
So you could have Cade and Shaedon or Jaden Ivey running your 1.
Or you can have, there's multiple different combinations depending on where Killian Hayes ends up. Because obviously there's no way Hayes can play anything other than point guard.
Yeah, so one of those two is probably our pick.
To play for Detroit. Anyway, so that pretty much wraps up Detroit. Interesting team. A lot of options, but all in all, we don't really think they're gonna
have a pretty big season next year. They'll probably be in the lottery.
Again, yeah. Same as Houston, same as Orlando. So I don't think this tells us you can't have a 1-year turnaround. Anyway, so next up is Oklahoma. We'll do that. That'll be an interesting one. Probably the most interesting off-season one so far.
Yep, you'll want to watch that, so make sure to check it out. And see you next time.